States lose the Vietnam War? I say no.
Well, you're wrong. As a matter of fact, you're so wrong that the exact opposite is actually the truth. The Vietnam conflict was actually the biggest L the United States took during the 20th century, and it was so impactful, it forever changed the geopolitical landscape. And the way to understand that is actually very simple. Everybody has that moment in time in their life, in their teens or their 20s, where they finally realize that their parents are flawed human beings and make just as many mistakes as they do. And this is exactly what the Vietnam War was for the American public, because prior to this, there was a sense of both invulnerability and infallibility that went along with every single American military endeavor, because we'd had just so much success stretching all the way back to the Revolution. And this mythical nature of the US military was shattered when the North Vietnamese proved that a small, impoverished nation could hold off the might of the US military for over 20 years. And this was despite the United States throwing everything they had into the conflict. A lot of people don't know that there were twice as many munitions, I'm talking 15 billion pounds of explosives, dropped on this teeny tiny peninsula in Southeast Asia as there were during the entirety of World War II in both the Pacific theater and the European theater. Now, this creator claims we won the war because we actually got the Paris Peace Accords signed, and technically there was a North and South Vietnam when those accords were signed, and North Vietnam didn't invade South Vietnam until about 18 months later. But the attempt of the US government to use this signing as an excuse to say, hey, we won this conflict, and it's not our fault for what happened afterwards, was seen through by the American public, and is exactly what contributed to that disillusionment about the power of the United States military, because everybody knew that Nixon was absolutely desperate to get out of Vietnam and end that conflict at any cost, and that's exactly what he did by allowing the North Vietnamese to eventually invade just 18 months after those accords were signed. And this loss changed the way the rest of the world viewed the United States, because no longer were we believed to be a bully that could do whatever we wanted to because we had such an incredible military, but now everybody knew that a well-motivated opponent, no matter what size or how much money they had, was able to hold off the US military over the long term, and it forever changed the way that they viewed our capabilities. The impact of our loss in the Vietnam War really cannot be overstated, and although I follow and like this creator, I definitely have to disagree with him on this one.